Talk to you about something that every medical coder absolutely relies on, but sometimes overlooks, and that is the CPT guidelines. These guidelines are the roadmap for correct code selection, and learning to use them can make the difference between a clean claim or a denial that could cost your provider money. So let's break this down into something a little bit more simple to understand. All right, so why do the CPT guidelines matter? Think of the CPT code book like a huge rule book for reporting medical procedures. Now, if the codes are the what, then the guidelines are the how-tos. Okay? CPT guidelines tell us things like when a code can or cannot be used, what terms actually mean in CPT language, how to apply the modifiers, what's included in a procedure and what might be separately billable, and the correct way to report multiple procedures if that's a situation we come across. Without these guidelines, choosing codes becomes guesswork. And in our field, if we guess, it'll usually turn into a denial, possibly a compliance issue, or even overcoding or undercoding. And that can lead to huge problems for your provider. Um, Financial problems could be considered fraud if you get audited. So we definitely don't want that. The guidelines exist to protect patients, providers, and coders. They ensure consistency, accuracy, and fairness across the entire healthcare system. So, yes, guidelines really are that important to what we do. All right, so where can you find these guidelines? Now, the big question at the beginning of the simple answer is at the beginning of every chapter. There are chapter specific guidelines at the very beginning of those sections. All right, so they're sprinkled throughout the CPT manual in a few of the key places. So, number one being the introduction to the section. This is a very This is at the very front of the CPT book. It gives you the big picture rules, things like definitions, conventions, symbols, and how CPT is structured. Most people skip this part, but it's actually a lot of very useful, very valuable information. Okay. So you have your section guidelines before each main section, like surgery, radiology, or evaluation and management, which is E&M. You'll find guidelines that apply only to that particular section. These tell you how to interpret the codes in that specific area. Okay. You can also have subsection, subheading, and category guidelines. CPT digs even deeper, offering many guidelines before smaller groups of codes. Okay, these are easy to miss, but super important because they tell you exactly how certain types of procedures should be reported on your claims. Okay, and then we also have parenthetical notes. These appear right under or before individual codes, all right along with the definitions. They might be short, but they're very important. They often say things like, do not report with, or use this code for, and can completely change the use of that code, completely change the function and the definition of that code, okay? So basically, if you're not reading the guidelines on every page, you are probably missing information, and that may be the reason why you're not finding the correct codes. Okay. All right. So, in closing, to sum it up, CPT guidelines aren't just suggestions, they're the foundation of accurate medical coding. They help us report services correctly, accurately. We avoid denials, which makes us more efficient, and our providers get paid faster. And fortunately, they're already built right into the CPT manual. You just have to use them. You just have to read. They're right. All the information is right there for you. So that's going to wrap it up for today on CPT guidelines. Thank you for listening and sharing your time with me. If you ever feel unsure about a code, just remember, when in doubt, check your guidelines. Have a great day. Bye-bye.